Students, good morning, good afternoon. I am coming to you from my garage, specifically my Civic. It's the only quiet place in my house, almost at any hour of day or night. It's snowing outside, so we'll see what happens. But I am homesick with the COVID. I've only had minor symptoms. But the weirdest symptom is that whole no taste or smell thing. It's very weird. Last night I bit into an onion and ate it like an apple, and I also put some mustard on top of a Kit Kat bar and ate it, which Mr. Shepard said it was a waste of a perfectly good Kit Kat, but what does he know? Anyway, I miss you. I hope you're doing well. So I didn't want to leave you with nothing, so I have some work for you. You should have answered the bell ringer by now. If you haven't, answer it now. Suffrage, what is suffrage? Suffrage is the right to vote. Suffrage sounds like a scary thing. It's not. It's a good thing. It's called, it's also called the franchise, which is a cool word for it, but that's what it is. Suffrage means the right to vote. It sounds like it's pain and suffering. It's not. Suffrage is good. Suffrage is a good thing. So there's your answer to the bell ringer. I'm looking at my notes here. I also wanted to review the progressives notes with you, hit the highlights. I'll get that in a second. Reminder that your assignments from over the long break, over the long Thanksgiving break, those assignments are due Wednesday at 2:33. That's when they're due. No exceptions. So turn those bad boys in. If you have questions, shoot me a text on Remind. Send me an email. Let me know. We'll figure something out to make sure you can get those things turned in. But again, those assignments from Thanksgiving break are due Wednesday. Okay, another thing. If you have any questions over any of that work, any of the work from Thanksgiving break, if you have any questions, let me know ASAP as possible. Let me know as soon as possible. Because first you should ask questions if you don't understand something, if something doesn't make sense, or if I failed to explain something well enough for you to understand it. Ask those questions, but also you need to ask questions because there will be a quiz on Thursday. Quiz on Thursday. I will post some info on that quiz so you don't have to ask me, hey, what's on that quiz? I'll tell you what's going to be on the quiz. But quiz on Thursday. One of the things that'll be on that quiz is amendments. I know, it's your favorite thing. How could I leave it off the quiz? I know you love amendments. So here are the amendments. You need to know amendments 13, 14, 15. They go together. They're the Reconstruction Amendments. 13, no more slavery. 14, there's no more slavery from the 13th Amendment. 14th Amendment says blacks are citizens and are therefore entitled to equal protection under the law. That's 14. Amendment 15 says black men can vote. 13, 14, 15. Again, I remember them as free men vote. If you don't want to remember them like that, totally fine. Doesn't hurt my feelings. 13, 14, 15. Frees the slaves. Blacks are citizens and get equal protection under the law. And black men can vote. 13, 14, 15. 16 and 17 we talked about last week. 16th Amendment starts the income tax. That's it. It's a really short amendment. It starts the federal income tax. The way I remember 16 as income tax is I look at the second letter of 16. The second letter of 16 is I, income tax. That's how I remember it. 17 is very similar. 17, the way I remember 17, conceptually it's extremely different. 16 and 17 go together. They're the progressive amendments, okay? The progressives said, hey, we want more power to the normal person, not the normal person, but the small person, the regular person, the working person, the farmer. So the 16th Amendment says income tax. The 17th Amendment says senators, U.S. senators who serve in Washington, D.C., will be directly elected by the people, which seems normal to us. It hadn't been like that before the 17th Amendment. The state legislatures, so like our state legislature in Columbus, would choose the 2 senators from Ohio to serve in Washington, D.C. That's not the way it is now, right? Now, we vote for our 2 senators to serve in Washington, D.C. So the 17th Amendment is direct election of U.S. senators. Direct election meaning directly by the people. The people directly elect U.S. senators. So, 16th Amendment, income tax. 17th Amendment, direct election of U.S. senators. Now, how do I remember 17 with senators? Look at the first 2 letters of 17. S-E. They are also the first 2 letters of senator. S-E. It might be stupid, but you know what? If it's stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. So that's how I remember it. I'm very smiley. I don't know. I miss you. 18th Amendment. 18 and 21 go together. 18th Amendment banned alcohol, prohibition. 21 brings back prohibition. So if you think of 18 and 21 being the legal ages, 18, I guess you can go watch bad movies, and you used to be able to buy cigarettes when you're 18. And then when you're 21, I guess you can go buy alcohol, and I don't know what else you can do at 21. What else can you do at 21? At 18, you can vote. At 21, you can buy alcohol. Big deal. Voting is much more important than buying alcohol. Alcohol's overrated, for the record. I've said that before. So there it is. 18 and 21. 21 is the repeal of prohibition. So 18 prohibits alcohol. 21 says, yeah, that was a bad decision. You can drink again. Okay, that's what Amendment 21 says. And then the 19th Amendment, 19th Amendment is women's suffrage. Women can vote. All right, so 19th Amendment, really short and sweet. It's worded very similarly to the 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment said, I'm sorry, it's not worded similarly to the 13th Amendment. It's worded similarly to the 15th Amendment. Remember, the 15th Amendment said, your right to vote can't be denied you based on your race, color, or previous condition of servitude. The 19th Amendment basically says, hey, the 19th Amendment says your right to vote cannot be denied based on your sex or gender, whatever word you want to use, okay? So there's that. 20th Amendment may make the news here soon. The 20th Amendment is pretty stupid. It just says that January 20th is Inauguration Day. So the president takes the oath of office on January 20th. There's that. So 13, 14, 15, free men vote. Frees the slaves. 13, blacks are citizens and are entitled to equal protection under the law. 14, black men can vote. 15, 16, income tax. 17, direct election of U.S. senators. 19 is women can vote, women's suffrage. 18 and 21, 18 is the prohibition of alcohol. 21 is the repeal of prohibition. So 18 says you can't drink. 21 says you can. So there's that. Remember, if you have questions over any of this stuff that we looked at over Thanksgiving break, let me know. As the kids say, LMK, because we'll have a quiz on Thursday. All right, there's page 1. I got 2 more pages. Get ready. I'm just going to sum this up, though, because I'm looking at the notes. I'm looking at what I gave you for notes over Thanksgiving break, and I am not so naive to think that Maybe you looked at it and you said, oh, really, notes? I'm going to do science, or I'm going to do math, or I'm going to do something else. So I want to make sure you get this info. And even if you did do it, because I know you're good students, even if you did it, hearing it a second time will not hurt your brain. And I miss you, so I got to talk to you kind of, sort of, in a little bit of a weird way. So, progressives. Progressives looked at the problems of the Gilded Age. I need one of those little phone mount things in this car. Progressives were a group of people who looked at the problems of the Gilded Age, and they said, you know what would solve this problem? More government. Because they looked at the problems and they said the thing that caused these problems was not enough government intervention, too much laissez-faire, too much government taking its hands off the economy. More government intervention in the economy would solve the problems, so they say. Okay, that's what the progressives said. So, there were a few kind of areas of, I don't want to say areas of attack, but areas of change that the progressives wanted to implement, and different tactics that they used. One of the tactics, or one of the areas they used, was journalism. So there were many journalists, many writers, photographers. You looked at one of them named Jacob Riis, who took those photos of life in New York City. And he created a book. He wrote and photographed for a book called How the Other Half Lives. I actually got it from the library. I had like big plans to read it, and then I got busy with other stuff and didn't read it, so paid like 25 cents in late fines. Anyway, it was cool. It's a cool book. I mean, it has a lot. It's like 300 pages and has a lot of photos in it. But anyway, these muckrakers stirred up muck. That's what Teddy Roosevelt said. But they basically uncovered truths that they said if people knew this stuff happened, there would be an uproar and there would be an outrage and stuff would get changed. And I read to you a disgusting section of the book called The Jungle, and the author, his name was Upton Sinclair. He wrote this disgusting book about the meat packing industry, and basically talked about how there were rats all over the meat and rat turds. And he actually talks about rat turds. And he talks about the workers in these plants would put out poison bread to kill the rats. But then when they were shoveling the meat into the hoppers to grind it up to put it into the cans, they would sometimes scoop up the poisoned meat and the poisoned dead rats and the turds. And you can just imagine that somebody sitting there at his dinner table, eating a hot dog, reading this, would say, oh my goodness, something's got to change. And so muckrakers did that. They exposed corrupt business practices. They exposed corrupt voting practices. And it worked. That strategy worked. They got 2 food/health laws passed to clean up food, to clean up medicine. And they got some voting changes put in, voting reforms. They did direct primary. Let's see, there's 5 voting reforms. Direct primary. You don't have to remember, like, hey, what are the 5 things that they came up with? I want you to remember what they mean. So what is direct primary? What is initiative? What is secret ballot? Direct primary just means that the citizens choose the candidates. It used to be that the political parties would choose the candidates to run in the general election. It hasn't been that way since the progressive era, the 19 teens, 1920s. The direct primary means that citizens, voters, choose the candidates. So that's cool. Initiative means that citizens can put issues onto the ballot and then make the legislature vote on those things. Referendum is kind of the opposite of initiative. Referendum is when the legislature has already made something a law, And a referendum is when there's enough signers of petitions to say, yeah, the citizens don't go for that kind of nonsense, and they put that issue on the ballot for the opportunity to vote it down and get it kicked off the books, to make it not a law anymore. So that's referendum, that's initiative, that's direct primary. And then you have recall. Recall just means if you have somebody in power, somebody in office like a mayor or a governor, and you decide, yeah, I really don't like that person, they've done a lot of bad stuff. If you have enough people who agree that, hey, this person is a bad mayor or a bad governor, you can kick them out. That's what recall means. Okay, kind of like save your receipt, take it back to the store, get that person kicked out. And then the last one, secret ballot, makes a lot of sense. Secret ballot just means that there's no way to know who somebody voted for. That's it. Your ballot, your vote is secret. So that's pretty obvious, makes sense. Secret ballot, the idea there was, if my vote is secret and if you can never figure out who I voted for, then why would you attempt to bribe me to vote for somebody specific? I could just take your bribe and still vote for somebody who I was going to vote for in the first place, and you just wasted your money. So the secret ballot, the idea behind that was get rid of fraudulent voting practices. All right, so there's that. Not much to say really detail-wise about women's suffrage, except that, hey, 19th Amendment, women's suffrage, women can vote. Like I said before, women could vote in some states, mostly out west, before the 19th Amendment. Those states wanted more citizens, they wanted more voters, because, you know, if you had to have 60,000 voters to become a state. And so they said, hey, let's let women vote so we can become a state faster. States like Wyoming, Utah, Idaho, Colorado, they already had women voting. Anyway, 19th Amendment, women voting. Alcohol reform. Temperance is the idea of everything in moderation. So temperance when it comes to alcohol means, hey, you can drink a beer a day and it's not going to hurt you. If you drink a case a day, that's going to be a problem. So temperance said, hey, a little bit under control, that's fine, no problem. Some Americans said that, but a lot of Americans during, leading up to Prohibition said no, total prohibition, prohibit totally alcohol, no alcohol. And so that's why the 18th Amendment was passed, because it had enough Americans saying we should ban alcohol. So they did. That lasted for a while, and then they passed the 21st Amendment to get rid of it, to repeal Prohibition. So the 18th Amendment is the only amendment to have been repealed completely. Let's see here. So conservation, progressives also did some like ecology, conservation stuff. So forests, mostly out west. They also went after big businesses, mostly monopolies, because they said, hey, a monopoly hurts the consumer, which it does. Monopolies hurt consumers because monopolies can raise the price and lower the quality. Monopolies exist because there's no competition. So the progressives got some antitrust, anti-monopoly laws passed to break those big companies up. And lastly, railroad regulation. Because if you think about railroads back then, it was the main way that farmers out west were getting their crops to market. So railroads knew this, and so they would jack up their rates, and farmers said, whoa, what are we going to do here? You're killing us. You got to lower these rates. And so the progressives got some legislation passed to lower those railroad rates. These were all of these are examples of not laissez-faire. They're all examples of government intervention in the economy. which, according to the progressives, was the solution to all the problems of the Gilded Age. They said, hey, all the problems of the Gilded Age caused by laissez-faire. If we get rid of laissez-faire and take a more hands-on, government hands-on approach to the economy, we will solve these problems. So that's it. That's, let me check my notes here real quick. Yep, that's what I got. Sound effects and all, see? It's like I'm right there with you. And again, if you have questions, let me know. Let me know if you have questions. Don't sit there and say, well, I don't know. Don't be silly. Ask your questions. Shoot me a text on Remind. Send me an email. I don't know. Ask the, well, take control of your life. Don't ask the substitute to ask me a question. You ask me a question yourself. You're at school, you have internet. Send me a text. Send me an email. Let me know what problems you have. Again, we'll have a test. Not a test. It'll be small. A quiz on Thursday. I think that's all I got. If I have anything else, I will post it somewhere. Hope everybody's doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.